Welcome to our election focus. With so many races and so many candidates jockeying for position in the upcoming primary, we weren't able to get the in-depth conversation that we had during the Annapolis city election. So this time, we're shaking it up a little bit. We identified key challenged races and invited all of the candidates to pitch us. In each 10-minute recording, we present a single question to the candidate. I am a new voter. Why should I vote for you? And after that, the candidate has up to 10 minutes to pitch themselves, and if they run out of time, we hang up on them. It's very simple and mildly therapeutic. Joining us now is Chrissy Holt, who is a Democrat running for State Senate in District 30. Hey, let's just assume that I'm a new voter here in Annapolis area, and I need to figure out who I want to vote for, and why would I want to vote for you?
Well, hi, John. I really appreciate the conversation today. So there's a lot of reasons why you would want to vote for me in Senate District 30. So it's a fairly big territory. I would represent 123,000 people, and that would include up through the Arnold area, all of Annapolis, and then down into South County through to Lothian and Wason's Corner. So I'm really excited about this opportunity to potentially represent folks as their senator. And so I bring to this challenge over 25 years of business experience. I currently work for the Walt Disney Company today and as a business manager for the Disney Institute. So I help leaders think differently about some of their skills and employee engagement and then their customer experiences. So it's a great backdrop and great training for me to bring to the General Assembly. I also bring 20 years of advocacy work in healthcare. So my son was born with hemophilia in 1995 and declared uninsurable with a pre-existing condition. Yet the medications that he needs to help his blood to clot runs on average about $30,000 a month. So it's $2,000 a dose every other day. And so I quickly learned in that moment that there was a huge intersection between public policy and what the outcomes were going to be for my son and his life, who is now 23 and a recent graduate from the University of Maryland with honors in economics. So, it proves the point that when families, particularly of those like me with the chronically ill family members, that when we find our voice and we advocate not only on Capitol Hill, but also here in the Maryland State General Assembly, that we can get things done and we can help get access to care and treatment that our families need. That was one of the pivotal points for me to decide to run for office this year. People have encouraged me to run through the years, and I've held leadership positions in our nonprofits and the hemophilia community, but haven't had the time to do that as a single mom, working single mom for a few years, and now married to Art, and we have 4 kids. And but this year in particular, with them trying to roll back the Affordable Care Act and once again pleading with legislators to not prevent our family members from getting access to the care that they need, and finally deciding I'm tired of trying to influence people to do the right thing. I'm actually going to go try to get a seat at the table and start making some of these decisions. So I am also very, very well qualified in terms of I am a true Marylander, born and raised here. Grew up in the Potomac area and decided to raise our family. We started in Lothian, so I've lived in South County for a few years and then relocated to Annapolis as a single mom. And so my kids have all gone to private schools here and public schools. We've had access to all of them, and we have a graduate from Towson, Maryland. We have one going on to Johns Hopkins to be an environmental engineer, and he won the Waterman Scholarship, so we're proud of him there. Also the Disney Scholarship, and also the Anne Arundel, so he's quite a student. And then we have a snowboarder who will make her way back out to Utah. So the other pivotal point was that I have my business experience and the advocacy and an empty nester and a life experiences to bring to the table, which is different than maybe what other folks have brought to the table in the past in terms of, being a developer or an attorney or something like that. I bring the working person's voice to the table when we're looking at legislation. So what makes me different from my opponent, though, there's a lot of things that makes me different. And you'll see that in my 3-tiered campaign of healthy people, healthy communities, and a healthy environment. And, I am endorsed. I'm the only candidate in District 30 that's endorsed by Progressive Maryland, which means I am not the establishment's pick for this race. And it's because I'm willing to really talk about and to push the envelope and the narrative around certain topics like being small money certified. I'm endorsed by Represent Maryland, which means that, I can make an independent decision at the table, and I'm not driven by insurance companies or pharmaceutical companies or other corporations or developers to make certain decisions. I'm the only candidate that's willing to come out very strongly about universal care, talking in terms around the improved Medicare for all. And I also testified with the National Nurses United for the Healthy Maryland Act that dropped last year, which is the single payer bill. And I'm willing to, sit around the table and figure out how we have to fund this. Not we can't fund it, but we have to. We need to stop sending our money to the insurance companies to then not get health care and terrible outcomes as a result of it. I'm also the only candidate who's supporting term limits, supporting $15 as a minimum wage, right? That's not even a livable wage, but at least to get ourselves to 15 here in the state of Maryland. I'm also very interested in ending gerrymandering. So we've seen so many obstacles for the voters' voice to be heard, and gerrymandering is a huge part of that. And so it's important that we go ahead and really take a look at that. And we'll have an opportunity here with the census coming about. And because I'm willing to talk about universal care, then under my Healthy People platform, we can talk about real solutions and it's not just an opiate crisis. We have a substance use disorder crisis. It affects all communities, not just the white communities. It affects everybody. People have been dying of alcoholism for decades, generations. My family has also been affected by that, but also meth and all sorts of drugs. So it's not just an opiate crisis, it's a substance use. And we can find some real solutions, tangible solutions for our communities if we fund it correctly through universal care, and we remove the barriers of having to have insurance to actually get recovery. So I'm also for, healthy communities, which means that we need to have safer schools. And it's good that Hogan found $125 million to make our schools safer. But I also would submit that any politician that has accepted NRA money needs to throw that into the pot for safer schools. And we need to take action immediately so that our parents and our kids feel safer to go get the education, the world-class education that they need and deserve in our communities. And when we have both universal care and our health care, we can release that anxiety not only in our families but in our economy. And we are willing to educate people to the full extent that they actually have access to. Our economy opens up, and so does social mobilization. And both of those are just key. So healthy communities, of course, I talked about a livable wage, but also women's rights and access. We're doing some research to understand what this female detention center is that's going to take $50 million of our Maryland taxes. What is that? Why do we need it? Why are 12 to 17-year-olds going to be in this detention center? So really putting a woman's eye against some of the issues in the budget to see if it makes sense for us, in terms of child care subsidies, making sure that families, working families, which most of us are, to be able to afford to live in a state like Maryland, then, we need access to good child care, and we need access to those subsidies. And finally, in the third tier, not finally, but also, healthy environment. I mean, for us to choose to live in Annapolis, the Bay is so important to us, and we have beautiful biodiversity here in our state, and we have to protect all of it. We had some good laws on the book. It's a shame that, the Forest Conservation Act is still discretionary, and the counties and the cities can decide how they want to implement it. It'd be better if we put stronger holds against that, particularly here in District 30. We're watching some of the runoff going on from the yacht club. So we need to hold these developers accountable to the pollution and the extra pollution that they're creating in our environment. And clean and renewable energy, well, I'll commit and have committed to 50% by 2030, but honestly, we need to do better than that. There's a whole job creation opportunity here that we could use. We actually are paying more for our power than we're actually creating here in the state of Maryland, and we certainly have the resources and the folks, the people that want the jobs and need the jobs here in our state, that we could actually take a stronger hold on clean, renewable energy here in Maryland.
15 seconds.
I'm hoping that, and I look forward to, the primary here, and I'm excited that the voters are energized and our volunteer teams are all coming out and helping us canvass, and we need everybody's help and everybody's vote. So it's an exciting race, and I look forward to representing folks in the general election.
For more information on Chrissy Holt, please visit her website at chrissyholt.com, and that is CHRISSYHOLT.com.